So you guys now know that I've decided on the Vixia G30 from Canon for my replacement video camera that'll be replacing the JVC GR-D70U. For those of you who are unaware, I have an older video camera that basically went poof, and I was going to use it, but basically it thinks it's blind, so now it's useless. So I was thinking about replacing it with another video camera, and I've decided on the Vixia G30. For those of you who are wondering my reasoning behind the G30, go ahead and take a look at my video below this one that says that I've finally decided. One of the commenters, I do not remember who, said something to the effect of, essentially, why not get a DSLR that also does video? There are a number of advantages to using a digital SLR. The biggest one being the size of the sensor. I own, personally, a Nikon D70 along with an 18 to 70 millimeter 3.5 to 5.6 VR lens. Having that piece of glass does make an upgrade option a couple of $100 cheaper than it would be getting the full kit. If I were to upgrade, this would be it, the D70-100. And the body alone is a couple $100 cheaper than the G30. So you're probably wondering, why don't I go ahead and do that? Well, the trouble with any digital SLR is the fact that it is a stills camera first and a video camera second. That does result in some compromises. You do get that nice big sensor and the nice depth of field. The trouble is, if you want to record anything over maybe 15, 20 minutes, or maybe not even 20 minutes, I don't know if it would make it that long, the sensor's intake would essentially cause the system to overheat. And I just see that as a bit of a, not just an inconvenience, but because of the system overheating, I could see that wearing on the life of the camera parts. You also don't get near as much manual control in terms of what you would expect for video. Things like zebra stripes to help your exposure. Think of them in photography terms as your highlights. Focus assist, your waveform monitor, all things that you can that can help you in terms of getting the right exposure for your videos are not present on a camera like the D70-100. And that's one of the reasons. The other reason is the form factor. If we can see right here, the G30, I mean, it's meant to be carried and walked with and all the things you would do with a video camera. If you were to try to do that with a camera like the D70-100, I could foresee having some major focusing problems. And it'd just be kind of clumsy to carry it around, especially for me. Depending on the weight of the body, I can hold it up straight to my eye perfectly for stills, but you can't record video through the optical viewfinder. And because of the weight of the camera, I'd have a problem holding it steady. And some of you are thinking, well, just get a shoulder rig. You know, why invest in all of those parts when, again, something like the G30 was built for video from the ground up? There is one camera that can actually do both, and that would be the Sony NEX VG30. But let's take a look at this. The G30 that I've decided on is around $1,500. Okay, now that's not cheap, but wait until you hear the rest of this. Now, the D70-100 body is around $1,100, so it's a little bit cheaper, but you have to factor in all of the catches that I've been talking about. The VG30's body would eliminate all these catches. You would have the video picture quality out of the DSLR that you would with the D70, but the catches in this case, $17.99 for the body alone. They give you a $300 discount on this lens. This is the kit lens, the 18 to 200 power zoom. The problem is, if you get the lens by itself, it is over $1,000, and even with that $300 discount, it still brings it down to $700, which I think is that just brings the total up to around $2,600, and that is $1,000 more than the G30. And I just don't think that the extra $1,000 is worth it to get what is essentially a video camera with a DSLR size sensor. Certainly the quality is great, but a number of other trade-offs in this form factor. This particular lens, I mean, take a look at the size of it. It's a monster. I remember seeing a lot of reviews where some of the people have said that it's just too front heavy, and I can see that being a problem. And you're probably thinking, well, I don't have to use this particular kit lens. I could just get the body alone and utilize either the lens off of my D70. I'd already covered that actually in a previous video. I talked to Sony. Turns out I do lose out on a lot of functionality, more than I was expecting, and that includes autofocus. The trouble is, trying to manually focus while walking, especially for me, because I have slight cerebral palsy in my legs, and I prefer to be able to hold something still rather than taking a chance of tripping over my own shoes, especially because I can't see out of my right eye, so that causes depth perception issues. So you can see the VG30 is a no-no, but in terms of why I'm not getting a digital SLR for video, well, you've already heard the reasons. Now, I must admit that the extra quality, especially when it comes to the bokeh, or background blur, and what that means is you have a picture of, say, your dog, and you've got a house sitting behind him. You could essentially adjust your exposure so that the dog stands out and the house sort of, blends into the background. So the creativity options are certainly compelling, but I just think it'd be better to have a camera that was built for the task rather than having to get something where video is not its priority. Now, a lot of people are saying go with a Canon, go with one of these, like one of these digital SLRs that is a Canon. I was actually going for the VG30 because of its reputation in video and glass. But the reason I'm not getting a Canon digital SLR is because I already have a piece of Nikon glass, and I'd prefer to keep it, to keep using it. I mean, the body and the glass that I have, the D70, perfectly capable, still have a lot of life left in them. So if I were to upgrade my DSLR, it would definitely be a Nikon of some kind. But that's basically why I'm not personally interested in getting a digital SLR for video. I just think it'd be easier to have something that was built for the task from the start. And you already know my reasoning about why I'm not getting the VG30. That thing is just too darn expensive. Even with a cheap lens, that pushes it to $2,000, which is still $500 more than the VG30 and over $700 more than the D70-100. I am curious about something, though, just out of curiosity. For those of you who do have a digital SLR, like the D70-100, and you've used it for video, what have your experiences been? Because everything that I've read suggests that after a couple of minutes, the camera tends to overheat because it was not built for taking in the kind of information that would be involved in capturing video. That's my biggest concern. But you've already heard my concerns. If you wish to, if you want to, you can go back through the video and listen to them again. But what do you guys think? Thank you for watching. Comments are welcome, and have a nice day.